Looks like we're live. Hello, everyone. Are we? Wait, we're live. Right, looks like we're live. Hello, everyone, and welcome to yet another recreation programming session with Mr. Azuzin. Let's make a little bit of announcement and officially start the stream as usual. So, Right Circle live on Twitch. What are we doing today on Twitch.tv website? Today we are reviewing your pull requests. That's right. I'm going to give the link to twitch.tv/surging, the place where we do all that. And of course, I'm going to ping everyone who's interested in being pinged. And there you go. The stream has officially started. So today I would like to take a look at the pull requests that people submitted to RayLib.js experimental project that we started several streams ago. Right, so it's an official implementation of subset of RayLib API in JavaScript. Right, so essentially the goal of this thing is to be like a one-file JavaScript implementation of the RayLib API that can be called from WebAssembly, and it does not depend on Mscript or any other overcomplicated setups or anything like that. Just like literally single file that you include into your project. You take your game written in C. You compile that game to WebAssembly, and then using this RayLib.js, you will be able to load that WebAssembly module and actually execute it on a web page, right? So that's basically the goal. And of course, this approach is very much limited. It is very much limited, but it is simple. Right, and that's my goal. My goal is to explore the ways to do simplicity and stuff like that. So, and I also said that this project is open for pull request, and people submitted quite a few pull requests. So, and that's exactly what I want you to do today. I want you to go through the pull request and review them, maybe merge some of them, provide the feedback, and stuff like that. Right, so that's basically the goal for today's stream. So let's take a look at them. So okay, we have 12 pull requests. I think I'm gonna start from the bottom. Right, so I'm gonna start from the bottom in the order as people were submitting the pull requests. I think it's fair. So selected example to URL search path. Oh, okay, so this is actually the problem that I had for some time. Right, so let's actually maybe start the server, HTTP server 6969, 6969. Right, and let's actually go here. So one of the problems that I had, okay, so we already have a dark mode. So I'm not using any dark reader or anything like that, but I'm actually using Chrome flags. And yeah, so basically auto dark mode for web content. So this is experimental flag, and it actually works quite well. It works faster than a dark reader because it's probably built into the browser itself, right, on the level of C++. So that's why it is faster. And yeah, now we have a dark mode. I remember somebody even submitted like a pull request, excuse me, for the dark mode. Yeah, we don't need dark mode anymore. Just like enable the flag for Chromium, so we don't need a dark mode. I'm joking, by the way. I'll look into that and we'll see if we can merge that. So essentially, the problem that I had, right, is that from time to time I would experiment and switch to different, different examples. And then if I recompile example, I want to be able to refresh the page. But if I refresh the page, it goes back to the default example, which is kind of meh, right? So it's very tedious to constantly switch back to the example that you were working on, right? So it would be nice if the page actually kind of stored its state in the URL. So then when you refresh, it recovers its own state. The lost art of storing the state of the web application in a URL. Right, so we're gonna recover that art, right? So we're gonna rediscover it again. Here's the pull request. So not that many changes actually, not that many changes. So I put a to-do in here to actually implement that. So we have default WASM. So we have WASM paths, and essentially we take the values and we take basically sort of like the first element of the first value. Which I suppose makes sense, right? And that becomes the default example. So then when we start RayLib, we are looking into the search path, and is that even a good idea to actually do that inside of it? Maybe it is. maybe it is. So we look into that. So it's an example parameter. We also add that to the history, so then we can actually do back, right? So we can press back and check the previous state. And then we set the raylib example select. So this is, yeah, so we set the selector in here. And here, the first thing we do, we'll look if there is a search path and there is a query parameter. And I suppose if it is missing, we're going to be using the default one, if I understand all of that correctly. Right. So essentially this is operator, right? So if this is undefined, we're going to pick the second one, right? So that's how this entire thing probably works. Right, so let's actually do something like that. If I have something like hello 69, it's going to be just that, but if I put undefined in here, it's going to be 69. So it's sort of like, it acts like OR, but the question is that different from OR? Maybe it is different from OR. Like, by the way, what's the difference between just doing that and that? Is there any difference? But I'm gonna believe it that there is a difference. But I mean, it's basically like OR. So it would trigger on 0. Consider 0 invalid, right? So if I do that, okay, I see. So that's the problem. Jesus Christ, it's so freaking common in JavaScript that you have a certain feature, but it has a special case that everyone is annoyed with, and they introduce another construction specifically without that case. It is such a freaking common pattern in JavaScript design. It's insane. They keep repeating that thing over and over and over again. They never learn. They never learn. Anyway. So let's actually fetch the changes and see what we have in here. So we probably need to add the remote, right? So let me take a look at your repo. So I'm gonna actually go into your repo, right into your repo, raylib.js. This is how I like to actually fetch the pull requests. This is my personal preferences. Don't add me. Right, so we're gonna do that, and don't make it default push, please. I beg you, meine Freunde. So you have quite a few branches in here. So, but I suppose we are only interested in this one. So here's the URL, and that's the only changes you've made in here, right? So you only modified this thing. So let me go ahead and refresh this entire thing. And here we have example game. Okay, that makes sense. So interestingly, what if you provide an example that doesn't exist? So it just goes back to the default one, which probably makes sense. I don't remember seeing that in the code. Right, so, oh, I suppose it does make sense, right? Because we are starting something, right? So we start in the example, and if wasm path include example, so this is the search path, so we extract that, then we query replace example default, and if it couldn't be found, right, if it doesn't exist, it's going to be the default, but then we are just doing that. So I think I do understand what is going on in here, right? So it basically always tries to redirect to the default one. Right, that makes sense. So now if I just go here, right, so I refresh, everything's fine. And if I go here and refresh, everything fine, I can also go back to previous states. So that makes sense. All that makes sense. So I think I like it. So we have like this particular, you know, section of the scripts become bigger and bigger and bigger. And I think it would be nice to maybe factor it out to a separate thing at some point. So, but if I do it right now, it will break all of the pull requests too much. So maybe I'm going to do that a little bit later, right? So maybe I'm going to do that a little bit later. Anyway, so I suppose this is fine. I think I'm fine with that. So we have parameter. Initially, to be fair, I wanted to store an example sort of like in an anchor, right? So anchor would be the name of the example. But I suppose the get parameters are also fine. It actually implies that we may have more state in here in the future, right? More state in here in the future via ampersands and stuff like that. So maybe some sort of like a resolution or something. Because why not, right? So maybe more parameters can be actually stored in here in the application. So I suppose it does make sense. I suppose it does make sense. All right. So let me go ahead and just like merge this entire thing. So looks good to me. Thank you. So, and we're going to merge it. So let me go ahead and just go to the main and fetch the latest thing. Merge main and URL. So I just realized, by the way, that I still haven't merged the Snake game, right? So because we ported Snake game to the Raylib.js. So if I actually go here, so one of the examples in here is the Snake game, which stopped working, by the way, for whatever freaking reason. Probably because I have to, yeah. So trace lock is not implemented. That's bizarre. Yeah, there we go. So I suppose something was cached in there. Right. So the problem with the Snake as well is that the focus has been really a little bit weird. So, and this thing is using Raylib.js. So I still haven't merged it into the final project, but maybe this is something that we can do like today, maybe after I merged all of the pull requests, so it doesn't really break too many pull requests. Okay, so all of that was merged, and we already merged these things, so everything seems to be fine. Let's take a look at the next pull request. Let's take a look at the next pull request. Niche video game operating system. Like, I would like to do that myself. So this is the reason, like, why I don't like that. Like, you probably copied knob.h, right? So you probably copied knob.h. So let me actually see. Yeah, that's what you did. You also copied the libraries and stuff like that. Nah, like I don't know how you made those libraries and whether you make modifications to knob.h. I actually have to like look into that. So I really would like to do that myself. I really would like to do that myself, and building final executables, like native executables, is not really the primary focus of this application. So that's like, it is not the primary focus of this application, and it should not be a thing that we spend too much time on, you know? It's kind of nice to have a native build to sort of compare, okay, so this is the native thing and this is the web thing, but making it like a full feature that we like invest into and constantly support. No, this project is about web. It's not about native thing. Like, nah. I'm sorry. I'm not gonna actually accept that. So it is out of scope. Like this kind of stuff is out of scope. So thank you so much. Out of scope. Right, and I'm gonna just close with a comment. So this is definitely out of scope. I might actually add knob build in the future, right? So I can add knob build in the future, but I'm gonna do that definitely myself. And to be fair, it's actually relatively easy to do it right now, right? Because you basically go ahead and port build.sh, and it's actually super simple thing. To be fair, it is actually a simple thing. Maybe we can do that. So let me go into the visualizer. And this is going to be knob.h, and I'm going to copy paste this thing in here, and we can do knob.c. Right, so let's actually include knob.h. Maybe I'm going to use these kind of things and define knob implementation. Knob implementation, and something like this, char argv. So, and of course, knob go rebuild yourself technology, argc, argv. So to be fair, with nope, we can actually just have a list of the examples that we want to build. Right, so that's one of the things we can have. We can have a list of these goddamn examples. So let me quickly maybe do that. This is that. So that means we should be able to do something like this. So I can just do that. And then I would like to go to the next space, but if I jump a one, yeah, so it doesn't really work that well. We can do something like this. Also not gonna work. God damn, I probably have to do that manually. Sometimes multiple cursors don't really work the way I want them to work. Right, so, but that's fine. That is totally fine. So here is an examples. To be fair, we could have actually just read the examples folder, but it's probably not gonna work ideally, because when I ported the snake, there was like an entire folder here with several files, right? So it's probably not gonna work that easily, right? It's probably not gonna work that easily, but whatever. So maybe we can, I don't know, man. So like all of these things are all over the place. How to really work with them? I don't know. Const char examples. Right, so here are the examples, and then we can do something like that. So let me see. So comma after game. Oh, thank you so much for telling me that I forgot the comma. All right, so the next thing we need to do is actually probably find the size of the array length, right? So we need to do the array length. So it's going to be size 0, right, array length, examples, and something like this, right? So, and as we iterate them, we're going to be just basically compiling them. So what's interesting is the first thing we're doing here, we create a folder. So this is probably something that we have to do as well. So in nob.h we have make dir if not exists, right? So we have to do make dir if not exists. So this is going to be just build, and if it fails, for whatever reason, if it fails, we have to return non-zero exit code. So we might as well actually test this thing right away. So this is going to be cc nobc. Okay, so I forgot the semicolon here. That's fine. Right. Oh shit, you won this time. Fuck. All right. Goddamn C. All right. Lost to C. Lost to C. All right. So this one was actually useful. So this is string concat. Yeah. I was too confident about C, but C fucked me up yet again. That's why I hate it, by the way. People think I like C. I fucking hate this language, honestly. So let's actually try to run it, and it in fact created the folder. Well, I mean, it tried to create a folder, and it already exists. So let me go ahead and maybe start, you know, creating the commands. So this is going to be cmd. And in here, we're going to do cmd count. So we're going to be basically resetting the list of the commands. We're going to be resetting the list of the commands on each iteration, right? So we're going to be reusing this entire thing, and then we're going to do nob cmd append. So we're going to do that by the pointer, right? So I'm going to do build sh. And so, yeah. So I'm going to just copy paste this one thing. So we're starting with clang. So this is the clang. Then maybe we're gonna also include this thing, right? So we include that, and then we need to add build, right? But the build depends on the example, so it's gonna be s. So we have to do something like nob tmp s printf, right? Nob tmp s printf, and this is gonna be examples I. Right, so we do that, and then I suppose we have to do the other thing. Let me see. Now this is going to be just the examples, right? Just the examples. Can you see that, by the way? I'm not sure if you can see that. Right, so this is going to be just S. And that's about it, right? That's about it. So the rest of the things are going to be added separately. So this is going to be CMD and boom, boom, and boom. There we go. So this is a command line argument, right? So, and it's supposed to build all of these things natively, and then we just run nopcmd run synchronously like this, and if it fails, we are going to just return a 0 exit code. Okay, so let's just go ahead and try to build that, and it already failed because it cannot find, you know, this thing, which is kind of bizarre because, yeah, you're supposed to put an O flag in here, right? So this is an O flag. There we go. So as you can see, it tried to build all of them except the game, and this is precisely what I was talking about. Like, it cannot find the game, right? It cannot find the game. So though we can actually maybe store like a pair of the examples, right? So example could be something like this. So const char src path, right, and the out path. So that's how we can work with all of that. And this is going to be just one of the examples, right? A bunch of examples. So, and if I go into this thing, into this multi-cursor mode, I can say that this is the out path, right? This is the out path, and this is src path, right? And that gives us way more control over this thing. We have way more control. So in here, obviously, they all start with C, and then in here, they also start with examples, right? So this is examples, but in case of game, it does not start with examples. So that's what allows us to define control over all of these things. See? The very fine control over all of those things. So that way, oh, if we're going to be doing out path, we might as well even say that this is in the build folder. This is in the build folder. That way, it's actually super easy to do the following thing. Okay, can you see, by the way? You can't see, scheiße. Just a second, yeah, you can see that now. So then I can say examples I, so out path, so this is the out path, and examples I src path. There we go. So that makes it way easier, and it gives us way more control over this stuff. I think that's pretty cool, actually. Right, so maybe we want to also format it like that, but I just don't want to spend too much time on that. So let's actually try to run it, and as you can see, it is working, it is twerking. So yeah, so this is the examples that we're building, and we can even reuse this entire... We can kind of reuse this entire stuff, but for WASMs, we're gonna have a different output path. Right, so for WASMs, we have a different output path. So I think I'm gonna actually rename out path to bin path. Right, so this is specifically a path for the binary, right? And then for the WASM, we're gonna have something like WASM path, right? So this is gonna be WASM path. So this is a completely different situation. I wonder if there is a quick way for me to format all of that stuff. So that would be actually kind of nice. Maybe I can use Emacs magic yet again, like so. Just put that on a new line, then go there, put that on a new line, go there, put that on a new line, right? Then copy paste, maybe even boom, and then this is gonna be WASM path. And the main difference here is that it's a WASM and ends with WASM. Boom. Can your Vim do that? I don't fucking think so. I don't fucking think so. I don't fucking think so. Alright, so let's actually build the WASM things. So in the future it will be easy to actually add more examples in here, I think. So one of the things we can do in here, actually, we can sort of add stuff like this so it looks a little bit nicer, and maybe even query replace, not really query replace, but maybe align something like this. Look at that beauty, Look at that beauty. So the next time you want to add a new example in here, you just go ahead and add, like, you know, another entry in here, and that works automatically. It works like a config. Holy fucking shots. Holy fucking shots. Anyways, now we want to kind of repeat the same thing. So here we want to clean up the CMD, and here we want to run the CMD. So we can even run all of these things like in parallel, right? Yeah. Can you CMake, make Ninja Mason instead of every build system do that? They all can do that, but they all separate programs. But here, it's sort of like part of the project. So let's go ahead and just grab one of these things. So that's a huge ass command line. I'll tell you that. I'll tell you that. We have quite a few things in here. Knob. Maybe I'm gonna actually start with just this. Knob cmd append, cmd clang. I'm thinking maybe I'm gonna do all of these things sort of like separately, if you know what I mean. Can I just do something like this? But that requires like an extra cursor at the end, which means that what if I put space in here? Okay, I might as well even query replace space with new line. Boom. Okay, so we're being super efficient right now. So this is gonna be something like this. Well, I mean, I'm not super efficient right now, but I tried. There we go. So could have actually be even more efficient. There we go. So now it allows me to do something like this. Knob cmd append cmd boom boom boom. And here we can actually go ahead and say examples I wasm path, right? So this is a wasm path, and this is examples I src path, and then we just run this entire thing. So we can even factor out these two like loops into separate functions, like build native and build wasm, right? So build native. Native. We can even return boolean to sort of indicate that if an error happens or something like that. So they don't really accept anything, but maybe in the future we can make them accept something. Right, so this is build native and then build wasm. This is what I like about Knob, is that I can make the build, I can write the build in a proper programming language. Well, I mean, as proper as it can get, right? So, because, like, I mean, C also has its own shortcomings. So it is what it is, and it isn't what it isn't. Is it not? I think it is. Right, so we can do stuff like that. So it leaks a little bit of memory, but I mean, that's fine. So build native, build wasm. There we go. So this is what we got. And if I try to run this entire thing, let's go through the compilation errors. How did that fucking happen? Okay, so I hope there was not that many of them. Okay, so there was not that many of them. There we go. So we got a replacement for build.sh, right? So we got a replacement for build.sh. It's a little bit bigger, but it's more robust and it's super easy to extend, right? It is super easy to extend. You just add another example in here, and that is basically it. So you control what's the src path, what is the bin path, what is the wasm path, and so on and so forth. So that's actually pretty cool. That's actually pretty cool. Theoretically, these things should also work on Windows if you have Clang in the path, right? So you would need to have Clang even on Windows, right? Because that's the only compiler that kind of do wasm compilation, I think. Is that really the only compiler that can do like wasm compilation? I'm pretty sure it is. I think we can add a sync, but maybe a little bit later, right? So I don't really want to work on that right now. So let's actually do subscribe yourself. So I'm going to commit this entire thing, but I'm not going to remove build.sh yet, because if there are any pull requests that add more examples, removing build.sh is going to break them. So I'm going to keep build.sh for a while until we process all the pull requests, and then I'm going to remove it. Right, so for now I'm going to just commit whatever we have in here. So we might as well git ignore a bunch of things in here, like knob and knob old. Because those things are not needed. So I still have a quick lint.js in here. Right, it's a linter from Stragger, right? So quick bin, yeah, so here it is. It works great, actually. It works great. It catches things. So as you can see, my JavaScript is perfect. So I have no errors in here. So it doesn't even complain about them. Okay, so let's actually commit all of that. Maybe... So build.sh. I'm gonna actually replace this thing with maybe something like cc, maybe Clang, because you 100% need to have Clang, no matter what. So now knob.c and then just knob. To be fair, to start demos locally, you don't really need to build anything, right? Because we already commit the WASM modules. We'll already commit the WASM modules, so you don't really need to build anything. So this could be like a separate section. Build demos, build demos. So I'm gonna actually put this stuff in here. I'm not gonna add any more information as of right now. Maybe in the future we're gonna actually extend it. Right, add knob build. And I'm going to push that right into the repo. Since I am the owner of the repo, I don't have to go through the pull requests and shit. So I can do this kind of stuff. I can afford to do this kind of stuff. Dark mode. Alright, so I've added root variables for callers. I've been using root variables. That sounds scary. That sounds a little bit scary. So it's going to be something super complicated. Okay, so we have some styles and shit. Maybe the time has come to actually maybe factor them out into a separate CSS file. Ooh, I see what's going on. Yeah, I remember this kind of feature in the browsers, right? So browsers have this like preferred color scheme, right? And if the preferred color scheme is dark, you can just do different things in here. So yeah, modern web. Okay, so I wonder how I can set it up. So it's probably somewhere in the settings. Usually Chromium can kind of understand that preferred theme is dark, but we'll see. Okay, so let me actually fetch all of that stuff. So there's no conflict in here because we're not updating anything. So let me fetch. So let's actually fetch all of these things. I mean, probably didn't have to do that because I already have this thing in here, but I mean, whatever. So let's go to the dark. So probably for that, I'll have to switch off my flags. That's for sure. So this is going to be the default, and I have to relaunch the browser completely. Okay, that seems to be good. That seems to be Gucci. That seems to be Tamaguchi. So create a dashboard. What the fuck is that? Oh, okay, I see what that is. Okay, if I go to local... Oh my god, it's so slow. Yeah, holy shit, that is so fucking slow. I think I need to... Yeah, I closed the Discord, it actually started to work fast. That is so fucking funny. Like, I closed the Discord, like, and it became fast. Anyways, so let's go ahead and just see. So this is sort of like a dark mode. Is that a dark mode? I'm not sure. So if I go to here, so we don't really have anything. Okay, so there's no median here. All right, so I go to the dark, and then nothing really changed. So that means the browser does not consider, doesn't think that I prefer a darker theme, right? It doesn't think so. To be fair, one of the things we can do, we can like get rid of that sort of condition that we have in there. So just to test all of that. So let me actually revert the buffer. So this is a color light. So here you set the variables, right? So you set the variables. And we can do something like, well, I mean, by the way, do like a single line comments work in CSS? I don't remember. I think there was a quirk like that. So they do not work. So we have to use a multi-line things. Right. Web, am I right? Web. I kind of vaguely remember that, like very, very vaguely. Okay, so, and that seems to be okay. Oh, and you even invert the border. Yeah, so that's basically the inversion of the border. Okay, looks good to me. So I think I can merge that. So, looks good to me. Thank you for your contribution. Right, and let's merge that right into the repo. Freaking right into the repo. Has been fucking merged, mate. So what else do we have in here? So let's explicitly specify undefined symbols. So I don't know whether is this something of interest, but with wasmld you can explicitly specify which symbols are undefined. The code that uses random undefined symbol does not compile. That's kind of the point of the setup, actually. That is kind of the point. The setup is we set everything up so if you have a random undefined symbols, it will still compile, but will fail at runtime, so we know what we need to implement while we are experimenting at runtime. That's kind of the point. So this pull request doesn't really fix anything. So, unlucky. Right, so it like the whole point of everything I was doing is that it compiles no matter what, but fails at runtime. So then it's easier for us to iterate and implement things. So the answer is probably no. So let me actually leave some sort of comment. Nah, sorry. The whole point was the program compiles was that the program compiles no matter what, but fails at runtime, so it's easier for us to iterate and implement things that are not implemented yet, but needed for the game execution. That's kind of weird wording, but whatever. Right. So let's actually close with a comment. So yeah, there we go. Super easy. Merge, reject, reject, merge, merge, reject, reject, merge. Support for working execution context. Okay, this one is interesting. So I initially experimented with off-screen There is a freaking off-screen canvas? When using the canvas element on the render, I think I vaguely remember off-screen canvas. Usually happen to a main execution thread. The computation related to the canvas animation and rendering can have significant impact on application performance. Now, provides a canvas that can be rendered off-screen, decoupling the DOM and a canvas API, so the canvas element is no longer entirely dependent on the DOM. Rendering operation can also be run inside of a worker, allowing you to run... Jesus fucking Christ. The browsers are getting crazier and fucking crazier and fucking crazier. Like, they keep piling shit on top. Oh. Browser is an OS. Yeah, it is an OS, but it feels like it becomes crazier than Windows, right? So... it's an OS level of bullshit. Jesus. Oh. Jesus. At this point, honestly, at this point, the browsers should just like load WASM module, right? And expose to the WASM module just the canvas where you can modify individual pixels, or maybe some OpenGL API, right? And the rest of this kind of stuff, layouting and everything, should be done by the application itself however they want, and that will give like a whole, that will spawn a whole market of special frameworks for that kind of emulate whatever we had built into the browser, but actually as a frameworks that you load with your application, right? So, and that will probably make the browsers more lightweight, right, and give more responsibility to the application to experiment with how to do things. So on the browser should become purely distribution program. That's an interesting idea. What if this is something that I said on the service worker stream, didn't I? It's just like the role of the browser should become like more, like less and less important, and the application themselves basically implement the functionality of the browser, right? So the browser becomes just the program distributors or something like that. I don't know, but maybe it's not going to be like that. So anyway, so to allow compiler without modifying the game loop, blah blah blah. But now I realize that the execution of WASM code is treated like a normal function call, not a macro or micro tasks. I don't know what that means. Is that some sort of like a JavaScript runtime terminology? I don't know. So the worker thread will never handle user input, which is useless for many apps. Also, currently it is impossible to simply generate frames in a worker with off-screen and bitmap context, as they don't work with 2D context. So my experiment was failed, but there is a code to run deep in a worker in the main thread. So the experiment is failed, but I don't understand. Is that like a working solution or just like a partially failed experiment? I don't understand. Okay, we're gonna leave a comment, right? So I don't get it. I don't get it. Is this some sort of working solution or just some bits of a failed experiment? So I don't know. Raylib.js is already a failed experiment. We don't really need a failed experiment inside of a failed experiment. So doesn't make much sense to me. So mouse click support in a core basic screen manager. Okay, so oh, it has two actually parts. That's pretty cool. People been reviewing shit and stuff. What the fuck? And it doesn't even conflict. Mouse click support in core basic screen manager. Gesture state, gesture tab, gesture mapping. Oh, wait a second, this is not how gestures work, don't they? That is sus, my friend. That is sus. Mouse wheel? Ah, gesture, okay. And then we add... Nah, this is gesture tab and mouse down are not the same thing, aren't they? I think they're not the same thing. So that's kind of sus, honestly. That's kind of sus. So browser gesture tab, right? This is not really what I want. JavaScript gesture tab. Touch events. Yeah. So lapse between consecutive and stuff like that. So that does. Okay. So this is strange. I thought mouse events, yeah. I thought that we should have implemented gestures via handling the touch events. Right? No. So this, like, I don't quite understand. So here are touch events. So I'm gonna add a single comment and I'm gonna just move on. I'm gonna just move on. Handle window should close using Asyncify. Asyncify? Adds Asyncify. I have a bad feeling about this pull request. I have a really bad feeling about this pull request. Oof. But I mean, maybe that's fine. Maybe it implements something like a... So this is just... Okay, so you changed all of the C code. That's fine. But where's the JavaScript code? I'm interested more in the JavaScript code. Is that the JavaScript code? No. Maybe I should actually start from the... So you rebuild all of the beans, but that's fine. So this is just like a style changing. Okay. Texturize Asyncify. Textures Asyncify. Is that another one that adds Asyncify? What the fuck are you doing, people? Don't you dare, motherflippers, making that a meme. Don't you dare making it a meme. Zozin, I made a pull request with Asyncify. Wait. What the fuck is going on? This is how software becomes over-bloated mess. This is literally how it happens. Alright. It's support for text format, trace log, and set trace log. Didn't we implement that in Snake? Dang. Holy shit! Okay. Well, I mean, it's part of... What is a print JS? Let me actually see. So it's not really... Can I just view it? What is this? What does it copy, by the way? So what did it just copy? It copied the name. Why do I... What is this shit? Why does it copy the name? It's so bizarre. So load div. I just want to view it as a row. Where is the row thing? Okay. Sheet.js. Okay, so there's this thing. What is sheet.js? I'm actually kind of not sure. Just a second. Spreadsheet simplified. Read, edit, and export spreadsheet works in the web browser and modern service trusted by Microsoft in Office 360. So that's what it is. All right. So it's just like a part of the code, but to be fair, that's actually rather interesting, honestly. So the way we did that with the snake, by the way, right? We can actually go into the snake. Let me fetch these changes, by the way. So I'm going to go to main, and I'm going to fetch everything. All right. So yeah. So let's go to the snake. And in case of the snake, snake internally depends on stb sprintf, right? And stb sprintf. So the way it works, right? The platform supplies platform log, and I think we actually implemented as trace log, right? And we have an internal buffer, and we do printf. So this is the thing that I implemented before I even started raylib.js, right? So that was before raylib.js. And I was actually thinking maybe I could make people link. I could make people link with this kind of thing. Right, but I'm really not sure. I'm really not sure if I want to depend on this thing. So, oh, this is actually the link to this stuff. Sprintf for JS. It's actually very interesting that it is like an entire project. It is an entire project. So this dependency is small and has full POSIX conversion support. We take advantage of the included tokenizer to extract the arguments of the given argument pointer to JS array. This is now allows us to easily implement this pesky cvariadic functions text format. Also edit this text format text example that shows off the use of these functions. Also extended the example a bit from the original to test more login functionality. Okay, this is interesting actually. Right, this is interesting actually. Like I never heard about this dependency. That's kind of cool, right? This is kind of cool. You know what? I need to think about it a little bit. So let's actually make a small break. Let's make a small break. I'm gonna make a cup of tea, right? And after the small break, after I think about it, after I process all of that, we can even maybe check out this dependency because this sounds interesting, honestly. This sounds interesting. So, all right, small break. All right. So let's continue. So maybe I'm gonna go ahead and try to just fetch that pull request. I think it's a pretty interesting idea, right? So I can have the copy of that file like locally. Raylib.js. Raylib.js. So let's just put it like that, and so let's go. So let me see. So add, I'm gonna be adding this thing, and let's not actually automatically push that. So let's fetch this remote thingy. So you made your commit right in the main, right? Not like it's not called master anymore, it's main. Okay, whatever. So this is, I suppose we can call that printf, right? So maybe as printf. And see how it goes. Let me take a look at the changes. I would prefer to actually copy paste that thing myself, right? Because I don't know what is this dependency. So in terms of modification, so you just edit a new example, which is fine, right? Which is totally fine. And that's about it, right? So that's about it. This is weird, by the way. So trace log level. Args pointed to array. What? Isn't like print J supposed to implement all? Wait, I don't understand. Like, why do we have this attempt to implement when we already have a dependencies that implements that? Am I missing something? So that's bizarre. Let me see. So is it used anywhere? Oh man, the GitHub is so inconvenient actually. Raylib.js. Okay, let me see. So it's not even used anywhere. So isn't that args to... What's the point of having this dependent? I thought it's just like implementation of printf and that's it. Like, why some of these things are not implemented? That is like, what's the point of having that dependencies if half of the things are not implemented? It doesn't make any sense to me, honestly. So this dependency is small. We take advantage of the included tokenizer to extract the arguments. But parsing printf arguments is not the most difficult thing in my opinion, isn't it? I didn't think it is difficult to do it yourself. Easily implement. This now allows you to implement these pesky C-periodic functions. Text format and trace log. Also edit the text format example that shows off. If the tokenizer is the only thing we use, like, why do we add such a huge dependency exactly? So let me take a look at the tokenizer. So the tokenizer, what does it do? The dependency itself is in fact very small. So the function tokenizer. All right. So this is the sort of like a ASCII stuff. So this is the tokenizer. To be fair, I don't think I wanna go that route yet. I didn't think I wanna go that route. I would rather prefer a solution that just works, right? So one of the things I was thinking is that maybe we could just precompile stb as printf and essentially send text into it via the memory, right? And then receive the final result also via the memory. And as printf is already a final working solution, right? So it's like a full implementation of printf, basically. Full implementation of printf, and this like looks a bit weird. I'm not sure if I want to accept this particular solution. Yeah. So let me see. Thank you for the PR, but I want to explore a different idea. That involves stb as printf.h. I'll implement it myself. Right, so I came to a conclusion that no, right, so I didn't think I want to accept that. I'm really sorry. I'm really sorry. Okay, so what else do we have in here? Slightly improved website layout. Slightly improved website layout. Okay. I like the current layout. All right. Text writing animation example. So implement text, subtext, multi-line string support. So the interesting thing in here is that some of the code is actually platform independent in Raylib. All right, and we're still re-implementing it. But maybe that's fine. So what this example does? Text, writing text, but does it implement anything particularly new? So we do fill text, and it also, yeah, it also actually includes. All right. Okay, that sounds interesting. Okay, that sounds interesting. It's just like, yeah, let's take a look at that. Let's take a look at this example. Looks cool. So let me actually close all of that stuff. Right, so let's close all of that stuff and let's go. RayLib.js. RayLib.js. Do you guys like JS? It's my favorite language of all time. Let's go here. I'm gonna put that. Boom, boom. Nah, let's not do that. Text writing animation. Boom. Oh, right. So I would like to actually rebuild everything just in case. Just in case. So that probably have rebuilt, yeah, so it rebuilt WASM, so I wanted my own build of WASM, and we are ready to go to localhost. Let's actually go to localhost and text writing animation. Ooh, this sample illustrates a text writing animation effect. Check it out. Press enter to restart, press space to speed up. Okay. Oh, I can hold space and it actually goes there. Oh, I see what it could be needed for. Because there are games. Right, so there's like a retro games, like with the dialogue and stuff like that. So it's actually pretty cool. Okay, that's a useful pull request. Thank you so much. I'm gonna actually maybe commit my own version of WASM. Recompiled text WASM. And I'm gonna push that right into your repo. Honestly, maybe it also would make sense to actually add it to Knob, right? So to Knob build. Oh, we don't have a Knob in here, so we first have to merge it. All right, so we'll do that later. So merge the pull request. Looks good to me. Thank you. Boom. And we're gonna merge that. That's pretty poggers. So let's go and just do it like that. So I'm gonna fetch the latest changes. Merge origin main. So we want to remove that. So this is not needed. We want to remove that. Everything seems to be okay. So now I probably want to add like a new example that we don't have in here. So build a Sage. Right, so text writing. So this is input mouse wheel. So that's the example we're gonna add. So we're going to simply copy paste this. Text writing. And I want to just go ahead, query replace that stuff with this stuff, 1, 2, 3, and just put it like that. Just put it like that, and we're gonna do knob. Right. Yeah, so the text writing animation. Okay, that's pretty cool. Add this to knob build. Boom, let's push that right into the repo. Okay, so what's the next thing? We're almost done. We're actually almost done with all of the pull requests. So mouse click core, basic screen, logo, RayLib example. Okay, that's cool. Load texture. Ooh, that is spicy. Loading textures and shites. I like that. Yeah. They're good. Okay, so we got that. So we got those things. When you load in the texture, okay. So you take in the memory, you extract in the file path, okay, I like that. You create a new image. Oof. Right, so then images index off. So the result is supposed to be like a structure. So people are discussing something here. It's possible to add an event listener load that provides a true width and height. I couldn't quite get it to work, I think, due to async. Any tips? Async does not work unless you... Okay. So let me see. So then we draw no tinting yet. Well, I mean, if there is no tinting, make a to-do at least, right? Make a to-do, and you rebuild all of these things. I see. So we need to do something about WASM binaries. We'll see. Okay, let me fetch those things. Let me fetch those things. It's impossible without it. Why is it impossible? Wait, so why is that impossible? So event listener unload. Who said you can't just, you know, save the pointer to the structure you modifying or something? Like, at least... Okay, so you have probably a pointer to some things to... Let's actually see. Who said it's impossible? It's kind of weird statement, honestly. So raylib.h. So draw texture. So you have some sort of an ID. You can kind of save that ID and then basically store that ID somewhere in JavaScript, and once the image gets resolved, you update its width and height. And then when you try to like draw texture, modify texture, it might not work that easily. Yeah, we'll see how we can do that. Though, to be fair, can you just fetch the image synchronously at least? Or is that not possible? Can you fetch it synchronously? That would be interesting, actually. In any case, for this kind of stuff, it's better to actually do to-do, not in the browser. I think you can do at least fetch, and fetch is synchronous, asynchronous, right? So fetch, yeah, you can't easily do that. Yeah, I see. Yeah, I'll need to think about that. So let me see. So texture logger raylib. And so let's go to raylib.js. So we have this with where is I have to revert this stuff. So let's put it to do. Get the true width and height of the image. Right, so when you have this kind of stuff, you better have like to-dos. No tinting. So const do implement tinting for... I might as well even do something like this for draw texture. Right. Let's do the builds. Yeah, that reverted all of them back, which is understandable. And let's go ahead and run these things. Texture logger raylib. Okay, so this is a texture. Makes sense to me. So let's do this stuff. add to-dos for the rest of the required work, right? Right. Rebuild WASM modules. And push that right into your repo. Okay. Looks good to me. Thank you. I'm gonna merge that. There's a conflict. Fuck. All right. So let's actually try to resolve that. I'm gonna try to maybe merge manually myself. So yeah, let's actually merge texture log arraylib and see where exactly it fails, where exactly it creates a conflict. Okay, so that one is very easy to resolve. This one is super easy to resolve. You just include both of them, right? So I guess that's the main problem. Yeah. So that is super easy. That is super easy. So what's the next one? So it's basically, yeah, it's basically the same problem, right? It's basically the same problem. Also, it collides with the sort of the thing that adds the parameter to the URL, which stores the parameter in URL. So let me actually see. Okay, so that's the only conflict that we have in here, right? So that's pretty cool. So shape, color palette, text, writing, animation. Okay. So that means shape color palette, shapes color palette is available. So that means we have to have this thing, right? So we have to include all of the 3 different examples, and the shapes color is available like literally everywhere. So, all right, we don't need any of that stuff anymore, I suppose. Right, so all of these examples are, so shapes color, yeah. Writing animation and stuff like that. So, and then we have this stuff. So I suppose, okay, we need to include both of them. All right, we need to include both of them. Oof. So subtext. Yeah, I think it's just like, it's pretty straightforward. Just include both of them. Just include both of them. All right. So, and what I would like to do, I would like to maybe build everything one more time, just in case, just to make sure that everything in fact compiles. And I'm gonna go to here, right? So I'm gonna refresh everything. So we have the text animation, the text example, and we have the logo arraylib, right? Shapes, colors. So we also have that. So many examples actually working. I'm really happy with that. Actually, I'm really happy with that. So yeah, so let's continue the merge. Let's commit the merge, and I'm going to push that right into the repo. So we're pushing all of that, and that will automatically merge this pull request. Yeah, there we go. So it has been merged. I kind of prefer to like resolve these conflicts manually with my Emacs and stuff like that, because I kind of got used to that. Right, so yeah, I don't like to use the GitHub thing. I think I'm too old-fashioned. I think I'm too old-fashioned for this kind of shit. All right, so we're almost done. Support for worker execution. So I don't really know what it's all about. I didn't think this pull request is gonna pass. We're too much ahead of everyone. So, and we also got something in here, right? So we got a response. So the compatibility between desktop phones, touch events can be handled as mouse events. You can separate them, but the general browser consider touch as mouse down, so it's fine. I'm not kind of sure about that, honestly. It's fine code. You think it's a fine code? Maybe it is fine. Maybe it is fine. He's right for the most part. All right. Okay. All right. so just a second, let me review that one more time. Current gesture. Yes. I don't know. It conflicts with all of that. I kind of like don't want to merge it, and now I have to resolve the conflict for this thing. And you also edit spaces, and you're just like, well, I mean, you just reformatted it. Yeah, later, alligator. All right, so it's just like I have no motivation to resolve conflicts for the pull request that I kind of don't want to merge. You know what I'm talking about? Like, I kind of okay with having it, but at the same time, I kind of don't want to merge it. And now I also have to invest effort into that. Nah, I don't want to do that. Like, honestly, don't want to do that. Okay, so I'm sorry. So I already have like little motivation to press that button. Now you ask me to do like some sort of work for that. Nah. Okay, so yeah, origin main. So already everything is up to date. So one of the things I would like to do, maybe by the way, is merge the snake. Right, merging the snake I think would be super beneficial. It would be super beneficial. It would probably introduce quite a few conflicts, but we can resolve them, right? So we can take a look at the snake one more time. Right, so let me refresh everything in here, and here is the snake. Here's the snake. So it's a super cool example, right? So I'll give you that. It's a super cool example. So I'm pretty sure it has to be in the on the website. So let's go ahead and merge that. So I'm gonna go to main and just literally do merge and snake. And of course it failed. And let's take a look at where exactly it failed. Okay, so it failed definitely in index.html. That is understandable. Also, it failed in raylib.js because we added a bunch of things in here. So measure text, draw text, XZ. I didn't think these two things conflict too much, right? It's just like we add two separate things in here, so that should be fine in my opinion. So where is the conflict? I didn't see it. So here it is. So we just added more functions in here. So that is totally fine. So there is nothing in here. All right, and so there's that. So yeah. And apart from that, only this thing fails. Okay, so this one is also pretty straightforward, isn't it? I think it is. So, and I suppose all of that is not needed, right? So that's the sort of the code. Yeah. So in the default wasm, what's going to be the default wasm? Default wasm is just like 0, whatever is at like first. And that's about it. That's the entirety of the conflict, actually. That's the entirety of the conflict. So that's pretty cool. And something is completely fucking broken. Okay, so that's cool. Let's see. So fail to execute compile is not okay. So this thing is not found. So I suppose that is, oh, I know what the fuck is going on. Somebody did fucky wacky and oopsie doopsie. I glanced over it and I was even surprised a little bit how that worked. So you actually have to do something like this if you want it to work, don't you? Yeah. So when I was reviewing, like, I noticed that, but then I looked at the behavior and it kind of worked, so I thought that it's fine. And now it actually fired up because you have freaking JavaScript. Why JavaScript allow that in the first, like, why the fuck this language even do that? Like, why people design it to intentionally fucking screw everything up? Right, so this is not going to work, right? This is not going to work, right? We can even try to do something like this, right? So because it takes this thing and just like spreads it like that. But if you have only one thing in here, it is going to work. That's how freaking bad JavaScript is. Like, this is not a real language. Like, this is not a real language. Even like a toy scripting languages like Lua, Python, or anything like that don't do this kind of shit. Like, this could not be a real programming language. Like, this is not. It's just like, this is like a crime against humanity. Like, it should be forbidden by Geneva Convention. I'm telling you. I'm fucking telling you. Sorry, Uwu. You're like, I mean, don't blame yourself. I'm not blaming you, by the way, right? I'm not blaming you. I'm actually blaming JavaScript. So it's not about you. It's like, why JavaScript like allow that in the first place, right? It should just not allow this kind of shit in the first place. But I mean, it's JavaScript. It's not a real language. All right, so we got these kind of things, and this is the default behavior. Then we can take a look at the snake. Snake seems to be working, and snake seems to be twerking. So something... Wait a second, who screwed up the logos? Who screwed them up? We're gonna find the commit that screwed up the logos, right? So because they were fine, but then something happened, and I mean, like the rendering of this thing. Time to git blame. So time to git bisect, by the way. So we're gonna be doing git bisect to figure that out, and it's probably gonna be my commit, right, at some point. Anyway, so let's commit the merge, and there we go. Unmodified. Wait, how? Unstaged. Oh, so this is like an additional thing. All right, and let's do fix the default wasm, right? Because that's what we did in here. Yeah, fix the default wasm, and let's maybe push that right into the main. So that's pretty cool. That's pretty epic, in my opinion. So we merged a lot of shit. One of the things I would like to do, by the way, I would probably like to get rid of the build. So, by the way, the build, knob build, does not include snake, but I think it should. It doesn't have snake. Where is the snake though? Texture logo. Huh. There's no snake. There's also game, so that means the build right now is not going to build anything particularly useful. Yeah, it's not going to build. All right, so let's actually get rid of the build. Right, so let's get rid of the build. And let's only use knob. In knob, we had game, but now we're going to be having examples sodding, just sodding ball, right? Sodding ball. Sodding ball. Something like this. So let me try to rebuild this entire stuff. Sodding ball. Sodding ball is done. So we also need to add sodding snake. So I suppose it's sodding snake, but it's actually behind an additional folder. Yeah, sodding snake.c. And build here is going to be sodding snake, snake, and snake. So that's the entirety of the things we're going to be doing in here. Sodding. We're building all of them. We're building all of them, and there we go. So that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. So replace build sh with knob.c. So finally we have the knob built. We have the knob build. So, and again, somebody screwed up the text rendering. It worked fine, but somebody screwed it up. So we can even like kind of confirm that. So if we go somewhere here, so this was like 1 hour ago, and maybe we can go to I don't know, like 1 week. So what was that? Core input. Okay, so let's actually go here somewhere. Yeah. And I'm going to refresh. So yeah. And if I go to basic window, or maybe a screen. Yeah, there we go. So this is fine. As you can see, it is totally fine. So we need to do git bisect. So let's quickly do that. Git bisect. I don't really remember how to use it, honestly. All right. So git bisect. Git bisect. So we sort of like start. This command uses binary search. So you supply start and you say what is bad and what is good. Right, so I know that this one is good. All right, this one is good. And I know that this one is bad, probably, but I need to confirm that. So let me confirm that. I'm gonna literally refresh everything in here. And yeah, it is bad. So I know which is good and I know which is bad. Why are they the same? So this doesn't make any freaking sense to me. So I suppose I have to do something like this. Right, so this is bad. And the good one, so let me find it. Yeah, so that was the good one. That's for sure. Yeah. So how do we start? So maybe I need to open all of that stuff in the terminal. Right, I think the terminal is going to be beneficial for us. So we're just gonna go there. And as you can see here, we do git bisect start. So that's the first thing we do. And then we can specify bad and good as optional things. And that's, I suppose, how you start. Right, so let's go ahead and just do that. So this is bad. I'm copying the bad thing in here and I'm copying the good thing. Boom. So bisecting 10 revisions to test after this one roughly left. Okay, so I remember, yeah. Main, I just want to take a look. So we currently somewhere in the middle. So my git is supposed to show you what is good and what is bad, but I'm not 100% sure. Merge request. Okay, merge pull request, and it's somewhere in the middle. So, and it is in fact somewhere in the middle. So let's go ahead and just like refresh. Like this. And I can't see shit because I can't move it down for some reason. Yeah, okay, so this is bad, right? So this is definitely bad. We can clearly see that it is in fact bad. So git bisect bad. All right, so we are on a different revision. This is good. This is good. Git bisect good. All right, so let's refresh that. So this is bad. Git bisect bad. Right, so what about this one? This is bad. Git bisect bad. Roughly 0 steps. Okay, so I suppose this is the last one. This is the last one that we need to check. Git bisect bad. All right, so that's the commit where we did a fucky-wacky. We know the exact name of the person who screwed everything up, and it's related to text writing animation, obviously. So that's how you do that, by the way, right? So if something was broken, you don't know exactly where, you can just use this specific command, git bisect. It's just like does binary search, right? So you can specify 2 ends, right? And it just like automatically like lets you say, okay, so this is a bad commit, this is a good commit, and it just like finds precisely where it happens. All right. So what exactly happened in here? So let's actually see. Let's actually review. So I suppose we are Raylib. By the way, I'm not blaming the person who implemented that. Don't get me wrong. So thank you so much for implementing that. I really appreciate that. And I do understand that sometimes we introduce these bugs you know, accidentally, maybe intentionally, maybe there was a reason. We are about to find out. So yeah, sometimes when I do bisect, I actually find out that it's me who introduced those bugs, right? So it's totally normal. Introducing bugs is totally normal, right? Making mistakes is okay. So let's take a look at the diff. So we have text writing anim, so that's totally fine. So what do we have in here? Aha, I think I see what is going on in here, right? So we specifically in here, that is a weird ass code. That is a dangerous code, my friend. So you forgot to put open curly brace in here, and you forgot to put closing curly brace in here. But for some weird reason, that just works out. But it... Oof. Oof, 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 oof. Oh boy. Oh boy, oh boy. Okay. So I wonder if the Stragger's linter is going to complain about any of that. So it's actually kind of interesting. So let me see. Stragger's linter, raylib.js. It doesn't complain that, right? But I mean, there's no really syntactical error in here. So that's fine. JS doesn't care. By the way, this would happen in any C-like language, right? So I don't think this is something specific to JavaScript per se. It's just like a C-like, right? So in C, you would have something like that. But it's really funny how it just like looks normal at the first glance, but then has the It reminds me of something. The code that looks okay at the first glance, but doesn't make sense when you look deep into it. Is that a code generated by ChatGPT? But I mean, ChatGPT will probably like fix this kind of stuff, but I don't know. Anyway, so have you noticed that this is like a common theme with all of the generative AI, right? It's just like it looks fine only at the first glance, right? So it only looks fine at the first glance, but when you start looking into that, it's just like, holy fuck. Right, and I think this is the main danger of AI, by the way. But I'm not claiming that this code is written with ChatGPT, by the way. I'm just like, you know, joking around and making the stream entertaining. So it's just like the common theme of generative AI is just like it looks okay only at the first glance. Right, but once you start looking into the details, it gets kind of disturbing. It's sort of like in this uncanny valley territory. ChatGPT always makes yeah, that's a good point, by the way. So if this was written by ChatGPT, it would have been too obvious. This is definitely not ChatGPT. Like ChatGPT like writes to comment each individual line. So yeah. Anyway, I just want you to talk about ChatGPT. Right? That's it. No more or less. So draw text. Yep. So if you close this one, it automatically becomes incorrect. So you need to have these two things. And interestingly, if we take a look at the commit that we have in here, right? So if we take a look at the commit, this thing was removed. So that's kind of the problem. So you accidentally removed this plus font size, and that plus font size was there for a reason, actually. It was there for a reason. So let me actually go and maybe, so I already have some changes in here, don't I? Yeah, so where they are, here they are, I see them. I think I need to fix that on the latest commit. So maybe before doing that, I think I'm gonna save this thing. Cause. How can I do? I think it's a git bisect reset. I think that's what it is, right? So we just reset the state of the git bisect, and now we can just how do I check out main? Yeah, so we are in the main now, and I go to raylib.js. Raylib.js, I said draw text. Yeah. Oh, so it actually carried the changes. That's cool. For some reason, bro, what the fuck is going on? Wait. So it was already fixed. Ah, that's really funny. So that was already fixed by somebody. So blame show commits adding lines. Fix and okay. Yeah. So then it was fixed probably in a different commit. Okay. So yeah, I see what's going on. So it was then later fixed. That is totally fine. So the only thing we probably need to do in here is just like add font size. So add font size. I think that should be enough. So now if I refresh, everything seems to be fine in the latest release. So we may want to take a look at some other. Okay, so this one looks all right. This one looks all right as well. Everything looks all right. But though I would like to maybe check the native version and just see how it corresponds to the web one, right? Because I don't really trust this thing anymore. My Emacs reacts very slowly to what I'm trying to do. Text writing animation. Okay. Text writing animation. Yeah, it looks all right. So the font is slightly different, but overall it looks all right. So now let me see. Let's go ahead and just fix the what was the function called? I think draw text. Fix draw text position Y positioning. There we go. I'm gonna push that right into the repo. Okay, so that's pretty poggers. I think that is pretty freaking poggers. So let's wait until everything is actually deployed. So GitHub pages are working, GitHub pages are twerking, so they're usually pretty fast, I think. So because I want to see that on the website. So I think they're already on the website. Maybe not the latest version, right? So maybe, right, it doesn't have the proper positioning. Yeah, but overall. So there is a problem here with maintaining the focus, I think. Yeah. All right. So that's pretty poggers. So I incorporated and reviewed all of the pull requests that I wanted to review. I'm not sure about these ones, honestly. I'm not really sure about these ones. So, yeah, how about that? Star Soldier, thank you so much for tier 1 subscription. Thank you. That's pretty cool. I'm already streaming for almost 2 hours, so I think it's a solid stream. It's a pretty solid stream, if I do say so myself. So I guess that's it for today. Thanks everyone who's watching me right now. I really appreciate that. Have a good one, and I see you all on the next recreational programming session with Mr. Azosin. I love you all. Mwah.